Let's get into the big topic of open source, something that we actually say at Red Hat.
This is so awesome.
We are an open culture that believes in
What is that process that a developer, or let's say,
as the Kubernetes ecosystem really boomed?
Hi, and welcome to another episode of In the Clouds. I am your host, Stu Miniman, and we are just about 1 week away from Red Hat Summit. So that is, of course, what we were talking today, Red Hat Summit and Ansible Fest, which this year is in the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado. And super happy to welcome back to the program Ashesh Badani. He's our Chief Product Officer. I know, Ashesh, you, the team, our executives, the whole company rallying around. It almost goes without saying that, you know, user events for companies are usually one of our favorite weeks of the year. The week or two leading up to it might not be one of our favorite weeks of the year, but Ashesh, welcome back to the program. Thanks for joining us.
Cool. Very, very excited to be here. Thanks for having me here, Stu. Good to be back.
Yeah. Awesome. So as I said, the show used to, I started going to, I can't believe it, Shesh. It's been about a decade since I started going to Red Hat Summit. It used to alternate between San Francisco and Boston. Yeah. Post-pandemic, it's been in Boston for a couple of years. Now we're bringing the show to Denver. Reminder to those attending, a mile high of altitude means you want to give yourself a little bit more time to get places because it might be a little exerting. If you happen to imbibe a little bit of alcohol, it will hit you a little bit harder. There's general euphoria being in Denver with the thin air, but there's some really exciting technology happening these days. So Ashesh, for our audience, we can't give away too much, but what are some of the key trends and themes that, yourself and the other keynote speakers we should expect to be seeing and hearing about at Summit?
Yeah, great intro. Thank you, Stu. We're excited to go to Denver, right? First time I think we're doing this in Denver. So hopefully this will be a great event, and hope to see many of your viewers live, or at least even catching the virtual stream of the event. Trends we're going to talk about. So can't go to a tech show these days, or you can't be in the technology business without bringing up AI. So we'll
excellent
be doing...
time note. We're less than 3 minutes in, and AI got, so we understand. Absolutely, yeah.
It's almost like if you don't talk about AI, people are going to ask you, "What's your AI strategy?" So we'll do that. We'll talk about AI, and we'll talk about AI. The Red Hat, the open source way. So exciting announcements on that front. We'll probably talk a little about it during this segment as well. Automation continues to be a big issue, right? There's some news. I'm sure we'll get to that at some point around that front. But Red Hat's automation strategy is really important to us. The work around Ansible, huge usage amongst our customer base. So we'll have things to share on that front. Another one, which perhaps we'll talk about as well, is after AI, or sometimes neck and neck with AI, depending on who I speak to. We get asked the virtualization question a lot. So expect for us to be sharing some ideas and the way we are helping to address some of what customers have been asking us there as well. And then security, more specifically, secure software supply chain is another one. If we didn't really have AI and virtualization to talk about, my guess is we'd be talking a lot more about security, but that's another one that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Security and underpinning of all those other topics. One of the core things why people come to Red Hat. Yeah. Work that. Ashesh, being a user conference, one of the things we love is not only is it for our customers, but the participation from our customers throughout the entire event is something that it was one of the things that brought me to Red Hat, Ashesh, is Red Hat did a great job of partnering with customers. Customers contribute in the community and in open source. And there's so many sessions and, keynotes and breakouts and things like that. So give us a little bit of view into customers. I'm sure you, like me, have many customer meetings that you'll be looking forward to there at the show too.
So thank you, Stu, for bringing that up. Actually, one of the favorite parts of the conference for me, and so true to I think Red Hat's roots around community. So there'll be a lot of community events, right? And that's super exciting, right? So you'll have OpenShift Commons, when we typically have a great mix of customers, partners. We'll have developers from our company, others that are participating in the community as well, sharing ideas there. We'll do something similar with Ansible Fest, right? We have a contributor day at Ansible Fest, so there'll be a lot on that front as well. We'll have sessions, technical sessions, roadmap sessions, high-level sessions to introduce new technologies, much deeper sessions, for example, Linux tuning and the whole bit, which are, by the way, super popular as well. Throughout the conference, right? So lots of great content, I think, throughout the event. We have an ecosystem day for our partners, right? Partners are critical. We'll see a lot of these customers and partners come up on our main stage. I won't get into the details on who those are, but expect for that to, obviously be in the technology ecosystem, but then also customers in financial services, public sector, many other areas, right? That we'll engage with there as well. We have training, right? We have training enablement as well, right? So for the folks who want to make sure that they can get a refresh on their skills, or maybe get sneak peek on some of the courses that we've got the ability for them to do that as well. And then we're running some AI types of labs as well at Summit. So if you're going to be there in person, maybe we'll take advantage of that.
Okay, good. Well, you actually covered the next thing I was going to talk about was partners, but you brought up AI. Let's take a little bit deeper. Ashesh, there was some recent unveiling of, you talked about open source and AI. I happened to be listening to IBM's earning call just last night, and Arvind talked about something called Instruct Lab. Maybe you can share, people coming to Summit, what should they expect to hear when it comes to AI and open source with Red Hat?
Yeah. So I'll roll back first, Stu, and then I'll sort of bring us back to what he just said. So last year at Red Hat Summit, right, we talked about AI as well, right? We talked about OpenShift AI. OpenShift AI is our platform for, I guess, what the industry is broadly calling MLOps, right? The ability to be able to say, look, I'm going to have models of my own. Perhaps there'll be some third-party models, some proprietary, some open, some sound open, but maybe not be open. I won't get into that a whole lot, but I'm sure your viewers understand what I'm talking about. But then the question really becomes, a model serving, model deployment, lifecycle management of the models, detection of drift that happens in the models. Then there's concerns around bias and trust and governance and lots of areas on that front, right? So we have a platform to help address that with OpenShift AI, and we're already starting to see customer traction with that. But we'll have customers as well who will come to Summit talking about their experiences on that front. Okay, so that's the ability to run, these models at scale, regardless of whether they were built in-house or you sort of got them from the outside. We'll couple that with something we talked about around AI at Summit last year, which was Lightspeed. Lightspeed is our sort of broad nomenclature around the application of AI that we bring to our products. We're not unique in that by any sense, right? Whether you're a company, I think at this point, pretty much any part of technology, you're doing something like this. Our customers are doing that as well, right? To increase, productivity or a chatbot to engage and create a better experience for the users. And so, we have something similar that we introduced with Ansible last year. Expect for us to talk about, how we're expanding that across our portfolio this year. So now you've got the MLOps platform, the application of AI directly into our products with Lightspeed. And then the next area that, that you're referring to, Stu, is around the open sourcing of the actual models. So Arvind Krishna at IBM's earnings yesterday talked about this. And anyone who catches the transcript of the call, you'll sort of get a flavor of what he said. There's some collaboration that we've been doing, actually pretty deep collaboration between the Red Hat team and IBM Research. IBM Research has been doing a lot of academic work and then working on bringing those ideas directly into ways customers can use them, right? Users can actually access them. Instruct Lab is a particular, it's based off of an academic paper, that's written and published around a particular way of being able to say, how can I take a core model and then bring the power of community or open source to it, right? You can have access to it, and perhaps Stu, you and team will share out the link with the folks who are viewing this segment. Around the lab pod stands for large-scale alignment of bots, right? Which is basically a novel method, for example, for taking a model, being able to train in a specific way, augment it in a specific manner, be able to customize that for needs of your own, use the ability to do some synthetic data generation around that, right? Which again is novel in the way it's being done, and then be able to expand how powerful it can be, even compared to models that might be double its size from a parameters perspective, right? So a 7 billion model performing at the rate of 20 billion parameter model.
Yeah, Ashesh, it's fascinating. I've been, with everyone else in the industry, we've all been diving in and looking at AI. We've got the GitHub link up on the screen there because so much discussion. You talk about like performance and like, oh, there's pre-training, which costs, millions of dollars and months worth of time. What's really cool about Instruct Lab is, give me a nice beefy laptop with a GPU in it, and I can actually work and improve on models and contribute to that. Like, even if I'm sitting disconnected,
right,
flying on a plane. So we're going to have in the expo floor, there's going to be an area with like 50 laptops set up where people can get their hands on this technology and understand, and definitely great buzz building up on that, and everybody wants to hear about it. So Ashesh, when we talk about the show, it's Red Hat Summit and Ansible Fest.
Yeah.
You talked a little bit about Lightspeed, which was, great discussion over the last year as to, even before the whole ChatGPT thing came out, it was Project Wisdom, which led to Lightspeed.
Yeah.
So Ansible Fest, of course, mission critical automation is a foundational layer of not only IT, but it's one of those things we really need to look at if we're have an infrastructure for AI, and we need to make sure that our resources can take care of it. So how about our friends on the Fest side? What should we be looking for at the show?
So Ansible Fest is exciting, right? And it keeps growing. For the folks who've been following us closely, we used to actually run Ansible Fest separately from Red Hat Summit. Starting last year, we actually put them together. We weren't sure how that would work. Turning out it's working great. Right, in terms of lots of crossover interest as well between folks who typically attend Red Hat Summit can go and take advantage of Ansible Fest. So highly encourage people to also go the other way, right? If you're coming to Ansible Fest, take advantage of some of the sessions on Red Hat Summit. What we should expect from there. Last year in Ansible Fest, we announced EDA, event-driven automation, right? Lots of interest from customers around the ability to be able to trigger off based on a set of events happening, a set of actions. Automation, we're finding, is one of the highest priorities across enterprises that we see. Customers, we typically have, either sort of basically hand-drawn automation is what I'll call it, right? So they've just got scripts that they've got running. When one team is maintaining it, things seem to be going fine. If there's turnover or if they're trying to get to enterprise-wide scale, if they haven't been able to do this in a consistent way, they often struggle. Bringing the power of Ansible to enterprises to be able to do that in a consistent way, be able to provide the enterprise class support and a life cycle around that, we're finding is of great value to our customers. So expect for us to talk a lot about the application of Ansible, have customers talk about the savings that they received from the automation, reduction in errors, greater productivity that they've brought to bear. And then we'll also talk about our vision for the future, right? So one of the areas that we're quite interested in that we'll share more on is around the policy as code, right? And so just building on the work that we see on the infrastructure as code front, but then now starting to apply it on a policy as code. There's also interest from our customer base.
Yeah. So speaking of that topic, we've been super focused on Summit, all the things going on there. There's a little bit of news this week that I'd love to get your take on, Ashesh. So IBM, this week made a definitive announcement, $6.4 billion to acquire HashiCorp. Company we've partnered with, we've got tons of joint customers with. There's always a little bit of, certain products overlap with us and certain products perfectly complement what we've been doing. So I'd love to get your thoughts on the acquisition. And yeah.
Well, it's just announced yesterday, right? So we're in that period. We're working through all the approvals with regard to completing the acquisition of HashiCorp. But this is something that IBM announced. And we're happy to help find ways to support it, because we've been working closely with folks who use tools that come from HashiCorp. So we have customers, and we actually have examples of this that are available on our website, who will say they're using Terraform for day zero, and infrastructure as code, right, being really effective in how they're doing provisioning across a hybrid cloud environment, and then using Ansible for day one and day two of activities, right? That combination is actually incredibly popular amongst our customer base, right? And so we hope to continue to work with our customers to enable more to be done on that front. We have many customers of OpenShift who also use Vault, right? So an extremely popular secrets management.
Both OpenShift and Ansible customers.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
OpenShift and Ansible, it's exactly right. And so we expect to do work there. And then there's a whole set of other HashiCorp products, maybe which we don't interact with as closely, but it'll be really interesting to see what kinds of collaboration can open up. So we're at the period where I can't speculate on what sort of things can and should happen and so on. There'll be a period of time when we go through with regard to the regulatory approvals that need to happen, and then we can discuss this some more.
Yeah. Thank you, Ashesh. Appreciate that. Of course, yeah, we've got the, it's supposed to close by the end of the year is what the guidance is. So there's not much we can say until there. We've got lots of friends in the community. We've got a lot of joint customers, a lot of respect for the HashiCorp team. So, looking forward to seeing that. All right. You mentioned there's been a really hot topic that's not AI and some of the other things in the industry. That's been virtualization. When you talk about, M&A activity, sometimes the ripple effects. Ashesh, I know you, me, Arvind, Matt, and everyone else have had lots of conversation with customers.
Yeah.
How's virtualization fit into customers' applications? Whether it's being looking for alternatives or looking to modernize. Cloud, all of those things. How does that fit into the discussion this year at Summit?
Yeah, so I would say probably the last 6 months, one of the top queries that we're getting, and potentially, right, many analyst firms and others are as well, is around customers trying to figure out what to do in sort of the wake of the Broadcom VMware transaction. Look, we've got a lot of OpenShift deployed on VMware. And that's been true before. We continue to support that. And, we'll sort of do that going forward as well. But having said that, we're also happy to support customers who are looking to modernize environments, right? So customers who say, look, I want to take advantage of a modern container platform like OpenShift and be able to run those VMs orchestrated by the same Kubernetes that's running, the containers running in OpenShift to run the VMs that they can bring on board. That's something that we're happy to work with them on. OpenShift virtualization is based on the open source KubeVirt project. We were one of the initiators of that project. It's actually, I think, a top 10 CNCF project at this point in time, with participation from, I think, 200 plus companies. So it's a thriving community, a thriving project. It's included as part of your OpenShift platform subscription. But so we're happy to help customers with that. We're also working closely with partners, right? Nutanix would be a good example of partners, to the extent that customers want to say, look, I might be considering Nutanix as an alternative. We'll work to make sure, RHEL OpenShift, our technology platform, supports that. Also GSI, so Global System Integrator partners, right? So like the big ones that you sort of can probably name off the top of your tongue, working with them as well with regard to, any activity that customers want to do. So we're happy to help support customers, right? If they want to stay where they are, we're going to continue working to help drive that forward. If they're looking to modernize and rethink their environments, we'll do that too.
Yeah, really good. You mentioned Nutanix, the GSIs, our partner community, hugely important. The other one I'll just mention before we move on to the next topic. Last year at Summit, fortuitously, we announced the Dell Apex partnership. Dell knows a thing or two about virtualization. The Dell Apex cloud platform, wonderful platform that can also host virtual machines and containers.
Great
and even for the AI piece. So, Ashesh, there's no shortage of activities. The last kind of main theme topic, you talked about security a little bit at the top. The secure supply chain has been, a super hot topic for a number of years in the open source community, of course, where it fits in the overall space. We've been pretty active in this space, and I know it's going to be an important topic at the show.
Yeah, like I said, right? So, if AI and the VMware conversations don't take all the oxygen room, right, there'd be plenty left over for secure software supply chain, especially given some of the XC exploits and such that have come in the news. So we've GA'd our secure software supply chain offering, right, Red Hat Trusted Application Pipelines, seeing a lot of interest from customers in that, right, and that's a combination of things, right. One is Red Hat Developer Hub, which is our productization of the Backstage project, lots of users of the Backstage project. And what we've done is built our enterprise version of that and done several improvements, right, to help customers, right, whether it's on the RBAC front, role-based access control, or dynamic plugins, and making it much easier to be able to use. So that's one critical part of the developer experience. Another one is Trusted Profile Analyzer. And actually, we've got a couple pieces there, right? There's the Trusted Profile Analyzer. There's the Artifact Signer technology as well. We've productized SigStore, right? SigStore is again very popular projects in this space, as part of CNCF, and that's how do we make sure we're authenticating against identities, how we're signing and verifying, who's actually behind a secret, right? And how we can make sure that we can, along with Trust Profile Analyzer, ensure that the software bill of material, right, the SBOM that's put through, that we can have visibility around it, transparency around it, have confidence regard to the veracity of what that is, and then be able to help support customers that have to deal with any auditing on those fronts as well. So that combination of technologies that we're making available to customers as part of our secure software supply chain offer, we think will be very interesting.
Yeah, Ashesh, it's almost I wish we had more time, because so many things as you were going through that, I was thinking a lot of my team's working on labs. It's one of the areas that, yes, people go to the keynotes and they want to go to the show floor, but like getting hands-on. You talked about some of the training that happens. The labs totally fill up. If you're going, make sure you've signed up. They want to make sure they have rooms. Folks on my team, I know, like the last couple of years, it's always like, and can you repeat that? And can you repeat that? So a lot of resources, a lot of work, a lot of ways to get your hands on. In the labs, on the show floor, there's opportunities. The developer area will have all the developer hub and trusted supply chain stuff there. There's usually lightning sessions going on, and I can go on and on and on. Any other just nuggets at the show that you'd want to shout out before we go to a special segment that we've got at the end of the episode?
Okay. Well, the last one that is critical, which you know well, Stu, is the hallway track. Right, just take advantage of other users, take advantage of customers who've come, want to talk. I think we're having roundtable as well that we're hosting on various topics. I know, for example, there's a virtualization roundtable, right, for folks who want to hear about that experience. So take advantage of the experiences, right? What's worked for them, what's not, what challenges they've been solving. There's lots of opportunities for networking as well, right? Also with partners, we have a lot of partners, right, that we bring to bear. So all the complementary technologies around our platform. So it's really, really important, right? Sort of have the whole experience at Summit, not just attend the session, attend the lab, right? Learn from all the others around.
Yeah, I mean, Ashesh, you never know who you're going to bump into when you go over to the dog petting area. Or we talked about we're going to be in Denver. There's an oxygen bar that's there. Yeah, I go through the catalog. I take a look at all the little fun things that are happening there. I think, not only is there the usual at the end of the day things at the event, but there's like a pub crawl, I think, is part of one of the activities. So Denver, an awesome city, a lot going on. I know we're all super excited to get there. So, all right, Ashesh, last week in the episode, Rohan helped us kick off. We've got a new rapid fire segment. So Rohan, I think we're ready to roll to the next segment. All right, it is questions from a red hat, and this time I actually have the red hat, so I can reach in here. Rapid fire, Ashesh, we want to keep this really fast. Yeah. The first question, all right, here's an easy one. What makes this summit, different from all summits of the past?
We're going to major on AI, even maybe bigger than we did last year, so be different, and it's in Denver.
Yeah. For me, Ashesh, I used to always, when I go to so many shows in my past life, it was, what's different from this year to last year? It feels to me, out of the 10 years that I've been watching Red Hat, and this time it's, the last 3.5 years has been from the inside. There's the most change inside from content, what we're doing to new location, everything else like that. So, and a shout out to, those celebrating Passover. We said, why is this, summit different from all other summits? This one's very different. All right. Next question. For first timers attending, what tips do you have for them?
Wow. So first timers, it's been a long time since I was a first timer at Summit. It can be overwhelming, the amount of things that are going on. I think maybe one thing that's really fantastic and we pride ourselves on is the ability to sort of put together a community with actual end users of technology, right? So we're as excited just by sheer innovation that's happening in a technology area, even though it hasn't made through product. We'll have Office of CTO talking about some advanced emerging technology that they're working on as well. So, take advantage of that, learn about that, in terms of kind of leaning forward. And then, of course, think about, how you can apply that to where it is that you work.
Yeah, I think that great tip. My tip would be, look, it's a very welcoming community. So not just the Red Hatters, but everyone attending there. We've all been a first timer at one point, and there's so many opportunities to get involved. As we said, like something like Instruct Lab, it's the first time everybody's seeing it. So you can get in on the ground floor on some of the new technologies. If you're struggling with some of the other areas, we've got people to help you in all of those places. All right, here's one. Who are you excited to see or meet at the show?
Oh, I am always excited, right? The number one thing I'm always excited about at Summit every year is meeting customers, right? We have customers come from around the world, right? So you got customers from Japan, from Latin America, obviously all parts of North America and Europe. I'm always really engaged and excited to meet them. So I'm looking forward to welcoming them back.
All right. Last one we have here. All right. So Denver, Ashesh, how familiar are you with Denver? You got any tips for those that go, or are you learning along with many of the people?
So oxygen bar.
Yeah.
I didn't know we need that,
Yeah.
but I guess that's good.
Yeah. So look, I've been a couple of times. I actually had one company I worked for, many years ago, had its training facility right outside of Denver. So culinary, there's some really excellent food. So good craft beers.
Okay.
First time I ever had ostrich was in Denver. They have like elk. So there's some really interesting culinary things. And Denver is a great city. So like I'm looking on the map and it's like, oh, Torchy's Tacos, which I love to eat in Austin. Yeah. They've got 2 locations not far from the convention center. Voodoo Donuts, which people know from like, Portland and everything. They've got a location. So Denver, really cool city. I'm a little sad that we're not in Boston because that's super easy from us, but Denver is going to be excellent and a really good time.
Well, I'm vegetarian, so I won't eat ostrich or elk, but I hear Denver's, quite outdoorsy, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of healthy food too.
Absolutely. I know we've got people on the team that are putting together, hikes and runs and things like that. So take it easy. I had one time I visited Boulder and we went for a little hike and we got about halfway up and I'm like, I'm going to sit here because I can't breathe anymore. It wasn't like my legs. It's just, the altitude does hit you.
Right.
All right, Shesh, I'll give you the final word. Red Hat Summit 2024. We're looking forward to seeing the community. Take it home.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here, Stu. Really appreciate it. Great to have this quick conversation. We'll have so much more to share at Red Hat Summit this year. Like Stu said, right? It's going to be big for us from a news perspective, not just in new areas like AI, but then also enhancements. We haven't even talked about the work that we're doing, for example, in Red Enterprise Linux and around OpenShift and so many other areas that surround our portfolio. We'll be talking about all that too. You'll be able to get, hands-on access to that, on the show floor. So if you can make it, please do make it. Look forward to seeing you. If you see me, come by and say hello. Tell me if you spotted me at this segment so I can pass on to Stu that this whole connection thing is actually working. And if not, catch it afterwards, right? Catch the virtual, live stream or catch the information around it afterwards too.
Yeah, as Ashesh said, if you go to red.ht/summit, that's where you can go there if you're joining us in person, or the keynotes will be streamed. Ashesh is going to be on the main stage. Ashesh is going to be speaking at Commons. You will be quite busy throughout the week, as will all of us. So,
but not too busy to say hello.
Yeah,
so don't
always.
Hesitate.
Absolutely. That's a great point. So we hope to see you there. And as always, send us your feedback. Let us know topics, customers you'd like to have on the program. We will not be on the air in 2 weeks because we will be at Red Hat Summit and Ansible Fest in Denver, but we will definitely be back later in the month. Programming note also, Ashesh and I will also be at IBM Think in person, which is 2 weeks after Summit, just down the block from where we're sitting here in the seaport of Boston, Massachusetts. So hope to see you at one of those shows or connect with you online. And thank you as always, for joining us on your journey in the clouds.